Well, hello, ladies. I'm so excited that you guys are here, and I am so appreciative of you spending your afternoon and your evening with me. I was so excited when you guys came on today because we were talking, and we've got people from Canada, and we've got people from Scotland, and we've got people, so it's super cool. It makes me excited. Um, we're going to be talking about manifestations today. One of my things that I have been, this is why I'm so excited about it. One thing that I have been working on manifesting is that people find me from all over the world. And here we go. Here we are sitting here in this class today. Like, so, we'll just do a little, we'll celebrate the little things here. So I am so excited that you guys are here. And I am so excited that we get to talk about manifesting today because this is one of my favorite things. And I know Roberta's in my class. We've talked about, she's done my VIP programs and stuff we've talked about. She knows I love talking about this. And I love helping people manifest. I have spent a lot of time manifesting my life. And I'll share some stories as we go along the road because this is something that I've been working on for about 20 years now. Before that, I didn't really believe it was possible. Before that, I thought that, life just happens to us, that we just have to take what we get, that we just really don't have it, this is just my lot in life, or, all of the crazy, stupid ass stories we tell ourselves about why we think our life is going the way that it is. And the one thing, if you hear nothing else from me today, I want you to hear the fact that you can create the life that you desire. And again, I will share stories with you because lately, it's been really fast for me. It's been super cool to see that it doesn't take months anymore. It's like we're down to weeks. We're like down to, so it's been really cool to watch how things have evolved for me over the times. And I will totally share all those stories with you because I want you to be inspired today. I want you to see that I'm not somebody that I don't see myself as special. I don't see myself as that it only happens to me and it can't happen to you. I don't believe any of that. I believe that we all have the opportunity here to create an amazing life. And I want you to walk away inspired today, knowing that, you know what? I got some things to do because I am going to give you some homework and you are going to have some things to do. Because with manifesting, I believe comes inspired action. And because the healer in me also knows that we have to clear some garbage out of the way so that we can truly believe that we can have all the things that we desire. So I'm super excited. It's going to be a great conversation. So let's just dive right in. Actually, I want to slow it down first before we do that. And I want to just take a minute and I want you to close your eyes and I want you to put your hand on your heart. And I want you to just feel your heart breathe. Feel your heart breathe. Feel your heart beat for a minute. I'm listening. I want you to just send some gratitude and love for yourself for being here today. Really thank God, thank the universe, thank whoever it is that you see as that higher power for allowing you to be in this space, for opening up today for you an opportunity to learn some different things and to know and understand different things. I'm going to ask for your heart to be open today, your mind to be open, and for possibilities to be able to be opened up for you. Just allow that healing light to come into your body, clearing out your energy, grounding you down to the ground, allowing you to feel safe and secure today, allowing your mind to calm, allowing that beautiful little ego of yours to just take a back seat for a little while and allow you to come to this space and learn and heal and grow today. I'm going to thank God and angels, all the universe for allowing you guys to be here with me today. And sending gratitude to all of you and those who watch this in future days. And so it is. All right, perfect. Much better. Everybody should feel a little more grounded, a little more stable, because we're going to talk about some things that are probably going to trigger you just a little bit, but that's okay. It's a good thing.
Perfect.
It's a way good
Perfect.
thing. Yes. So
Let's do
let's do it. If you have a journal, I'm going to encourage you to, if you have some paper with you, that would be awesome because I'm going to ask you to write some things down. Roberta, I know you're in your car. If you don't have one of those,
I do.
Yay. So we're just going to write some things down. First, I'm going to talk for just a little bit, and then we're going to do things. So first off, this week I've really pissed some people off, and it's really been an interesting thing to kind of watch because the one thing that I teach, and Roberta knows this because she has been with me for so long, is I teach people to take responsibility for their lives. And some people get really upset with that. So I want you to know there's a possibility that part of you is going to go, yeah, well, this is bullshit. Like whatever language you want to put that in, like, because there is sometimes part of us that we just believe, there is this belief that we think that we don't have control over anything in life. And I'm here to tell you 20 years later, that is not your truth. Like, and there was some things that went on social media this last week, and it was really interesting. And I kind of felt really bad about it because I don't want to intentionally hurt people's feelings. But it was really interesting because a friend of mine said, you know, Gina, maybe you just triggered some people up with some things that they needed to heal. And I was like, oh, thank you for reminding me that, because our bodies are so good at telling us, you know, no, she's wrong. And yes, I'm right. And that's not going to work for me. And, you know, all the things that we come up, all the stories that we come up with in our head. So today we're going to talk all about these stories. And the reason I bring that story up is because I even had some stories in my head, like, geez, I always just make people angry, or geez, these people just, people don't hear my message, or, there was a million stories going on in my head with this scenario. And then I realized, no, my job here, I feel like it's my calling to almost trigger people up. And because then they have to look at their stuff, they have to take a good look at themselves, and they can blame me if they choose to, but it's also a good opportunity, if you use it right, to look at what you really believe on the inside and what's really going on for you. So I want you to think about that today as we're going through this. I may say some things that really just trigger you, and that's okay. Let's talk about them. We can work through them. I can help you work through them. Yeah, Roberta's saying that's the one thing I struggle with, is letting go and surrendering to what has happened. Let me pull up my chat box. And then when we do take control, I feel like I need to control. Yeah, we will talk about, I feel like I need to control. We're going to talk about all that because there is a part of letting go in manifesting, and there is a part of inspired action. So it's kind of this weird line in there that we have to kind of juggle for ourselves. So we're gonna talk about that, okay? So there's two ways that today might go for you. You're going to be totally intrigued, you're going to be totally excited, and you're going to be totally ready to learn and to grow. And the other part, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, why did I sign up for this? And why did I do this? I hope you're the inspired part today. That's my hope. That's my goal, because I want you to be inspired. I just feel like, and either is fine. No worries. If you go either way, let's just take a deep breath, ask me some questions, and let's try and work through it for you and work through those belief systems so that we can get you to a place, because that's what this is really all about. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's do this. We've already talked about all that. Yeah, so I want to put you in the driver's seat today and help you do that. And like I say, I've been working at this for over 2 decades. I'm just going to tell you some stories right off the bat because I think it's inspiring to see that this stuff works. So I remember 20 years ago thinking that I just couldn't, I didn't really believe, I just didn't understand how energy works, because energy is money is an energy, but it's actually even more than that. It just goes where the frequencies or the vibrations line up. So when we get on that frequency, and we're going to talk a lot about money today, but know that this could go to relationships, this could go to our health and wealth, this could go to a million different areas in our life. So as we line up with the vibration of the thing that we want, that's when it flows easily to us. And we're going to talk about the steps to do that. But just recently, I was telling you when I was opening up for you, I actually manifested an airplane just not too many months ago in 2 weeks. Now, this hasn't always happened for me, but my husband is retired. He spent the last year getting his pilot's license. So he waited until he retired. He did not think that he would ever get his pilot's license. And Roberta knows this. We've been talking about this this has been in the works for 2 years now. And I kept telling him a plane is going to fall into your lap. His first plane, we'll talk about that one first. I said, you're retired. You've always wanted to go get your pilot's license. Why are you not doing this? Well, because it's expensive and blah, blah, blah. We have to go through all the excuses before we actually dive in. And I said, so we'll figure it out. What's the hang up here? And so he did. We started figuring it out. And lo and behold, his first airplane, we walked in to have dinner one night. And one of the guys that used to work with him, he retired a couple of years before my husband did, happened to, and it was kind of a sad story for him, but good for us. He had had a heart attack and couldn't fly anymore and was selling his airplane. Well, we snatched that sucker up. And I mean, we just happened to be in the same place for dinner one night and started talking to him, and wham, here's this plane. Within the next month, we owned that plane. And I was able to pay it off in just a short period of time. We set up payments with him and was able to pay it off in just a short period of time. So that was really cool. I was so glad the day that we made our last payment, and we had just made our last payment and went to see our financial guy. And I looked at our financial guy and I said, we're going to be buying a new plane in the next couple of weeks. So you need to put money aside somewhere. And my husband looks over at me like I'm freaking insane. And I said, no, I feel it. Because we had talked about upgrading his plane. He had just gotten a smaller plane and one that was really economical on gas to use while he was getting his license. And he had gotten his license in December. And this was February, I think is when this was. Literally, my husband found a plane not even 2 weeks later and was headed to go pick it up within that 2-week time frame. And he found a plane that upgraded. He upgraded from a 2007 to a 2018. It's been this whole big deal. So, and it hasn't all been roses. It's been a little rough. There's been some bumps along the way where he's questioned what we've done, but it has all worked out. And I just put it out there. I just told the universe, this is what we want. We need to upgrade. He needs some different things. He needs to be able to fly into a towered airport, which requires those people who don't, if you don't know anything about it, means nothing to you, but there's things that you need on your plane that in order to do all of that. And so he was able to upgrade and get those things so that he can do some other things he wants to. So in fact, he's flying right now. I was just watching him on my phone because he's actually out flying his new plane today. So yeah, it's taken a little while. We got it back here and he had to get with the mechanic and then he had to get his instructor because it's a new plane. It's different than his old plane. So he's had to take a few more lessons and so that he feels comfortable doing it. But he texted me a while ago and said, I'm going out for fun, just so you know where I'm at. So I was super excited about that. Today is the first day that he's flown in all by himself just for fun. So there's been lots of stories like this all along the way for me. I have manifested my VIP programs in my business. I've manifested lots of things through my business, lots of things, lots of relationship stuff, the kinds of relationships that I want to have, the kind of people that I want to bring into my life, all sorts of things. And we literally do it by setting our intentions, doing the work, clearing out our garbage, and doing what we need to do. So that's kind of my backstory. That just kind of gives you just a little brief insight into my life. And just this last year, I guess I can't even not talk about, I have had thyroid issues my whole life and have never been able to find anybody to help me. And just this past year, I was able to stumble upon the perfect lady for me. She's amazing. She's a functional PA. I've gotten my thyroid all under control after 22 years. Literally, I've been fighting this for 22 years. I've been able to drop. I told my husband today I'm within just a few pounds of making it to the 50-pound mark. So I've dropped 50 pounds just in the last little bit. And that has been one thing. I did a vision board and I want to show you what's on my vision board because do you see this perfect health? Okay, that's what we're talking about.
Nice. Nice.
That is what we were talking about. Where's my airplane? Okay, so here's the airplane up here. So you got to see the airplane up here. So this is my vision board. I took it down off my wall. It stays up here in my office all the time. So what else do we have on here? That my family relationships, we've got all that. I write lots of checks to myself. You'll see all of these, and I'll show you where to get all of those. So I write lots of checks to myself and I slam them on my vision board. And we'll talk about all those things because it's all part of the process here. So do you have to make a vision board? No. Is it nice to do? Yes. Like I know the day that we bought the first airplane, I was down laying, we were getting ready to go sign all the papers on it, and I was laying in bed and I heard, you need to go get your vision board. And I had moved it off my wall and it had gotten shoved in my closet, and I heard, you need to go look at your vision board. And I was like, I haven't looked at that thing for like a year. Like, and I said, I know, go get it out of the closet. And sure enough, I pulled, that was my other one before this one. I pulled it out of my closet and it had almost the exact airplane on it that we had just purchased. So I'm telling you, this shit works. Like, so does anybody have any questions so far? Anything that's everybody's good? Okay, so let's talk about how does it work? So manifesting to me is so much more than just pretending that it's all going to work out for you. There's actual steps that go into this. So I want you to hear me today as we're talking about the steps, because I actually think the steps help us. It helps our mind to know that, you know what, oh yeah, you're right. There is some things that we can do to make this happen. And I don't have to just sit back and hope that it's all going to fall together, because hope, I'm sorry, is not going to get you anywhere. Hope is begging God, begging the universe, begging somebody to come in and save you one more time. Like, and can it work sometimes? Yes. But I think it's a lot better if we do it on the positive side of things, really start clearing out our belief system, start looking at our life, looking at the way that we want things to be, and really start going towards what we desire. And that's what I want to talk about for you today. So how do I manifest? I believe, so here are some quick steps, and then we're going to talk about all of them, and we'll probably add a little bit more in. So I believe your first step is you've got to decide, what the hell do you want? Most of us are all over the place and we don't even really know what we want, and we don't know what we even desire, and we don't even know what that looks like for us. And then we let our fears and our belief systems get in the way about what, well, that would never happen for us because we could never afford that. I'm telling you, even 5 years ago, if I thought, right now I have 2 airplanes sitting in my hangar because we've sold the other one, but the guy hasn't come and got it yet. I would have never believed in a million years that there would be 2 airplanes. There's 2 airplanes sitting in my airplane hangar. I have an airplane hangar. Like, what the hell? Like, seriously? But it can happen if you're open to the possibilities. So that was one of the things I showed you. The airplane was on my vision board. I want an even bigger airplane. I'm going for the next step up because I want to be able to fly my kids and go places. I want to be able to put my dogs in my airplane. If I had my ideal life would to be never fly commercial ever again in my life, even across the ocean. Like, that is my goal. That is what I'm going for. It is on my vision board. It is out there. And honestly, my husband thinks I am freaking insane, but I don't care. I don't need him to be on my same train to manifest with me. I can do that myself. So I think he's just thinking, how am I going to do that? Well, he's not doing any of that. He'll be in the back seat with me. Well, someone else will be, yeah, someone else will be flying that. Like, so, you know, think about that. What do you want? Because you need to get very, very, very clear about this. And I mean, I'll tell you some of the things I was thinking about it today. I'm like, because I am very clear and I'm very intentional. I just told you that big jet airplane is on my list. That pilot is on my list. Being able to go and drive myself down to the local airport and drive right in my hangar and pull my plane out, or have someone else come and get me, however that looks. I don't know. I don't need to figure out all the hows. I'm going to take my suitcase, put it on that plane, and I'm going to go curl up in the back corner and go to sleep and put my feet up. We're going to forget all of this security garbage and all the crap that we have to go through to go fly anywhere these days. Like, it's maddening. Like, and so that is what I have put out there to the universe. We can also put the smaller things out there. I want to put a fence in my yard this year. That's on my list. I am very intentional about what that looks like and how I want that to be. All the little things, paying cash for a new car, whatever it is that you desire, you need to put those on the list. And the question you need to ask yourself here when you are making this list, if money was not a problem and nobody cared about what I asked for, nobody's opinions mattered, none of that mattered, what would I ask the universe for? This isn't about what you think that you can have at your current rate. This is about you dreaming very big on where you want to go. And it's all those little steps along the way. So does everybody understand that? And then as you're making this list, your mind is going to go to the place of, yeah, but we can't afford that, right? Isn't that what you just said to yourself? My account, I just looked at it today. It says we can't go there. Okay, this is where we start working through all of those belief systems. And as you are telling the universe what you need, and we're going to talk about all these more in depth. So, as we're telling the universe what we need, this is when we go in and we start really working through all of those beliefs. If you've been following me for a while, if you've done any of my meditations, if you know anything about me, my whole thing is looking at what you think is the problem and working through all of those, because none of those are the problem. The problem is what we've chosen to think for all these years. The 20-year ago Gina would have never imagined my life like this, because it had to come in baby steps. It had to come. I had to work my way through that. I had to work my way out of all of those beliefs, all those things that told me that I wasn't good enough, that the people, that my family just didn't have that kind of money, that we just weren't allowed to do those kind of things, that my family would actually be mad at me as one of the ones that I had to go through for having that kind of money, or be jealous of me, or I'd have to give them my money, or all these things that start coming up for us. We have to face them. We can't run from them anymore, because when we run from them, it's keeping you away from the things that you want. It's truly keeping you away from the things that you desire. So this is where we start working through all of those beliefs. So if money wasn't an issue and nobody was mad, what would you want? And then what are the things that are coming up for you? So, I want you to just take a minute and write down, in your fantasy world, what would you do? One of the ones that I like is a big fat savings account. I put that all over the place. I want a big fat savings account, and I still want to be able to spend and buy what I desire, because it is totally possible. I'm telling you. And as you're writing that out, I want you to notice the thoughts that come in, because they're going to come in, and that's okay. You're human. As long as you're human, you're going to have them. I just want you to notice the thoughts that are coming in for you. Okay, so I want you to, you can either unmute or write it in the chat What are some of these belief systems that are coming up for you while you're doing this? Because I'm sure you can hear them all nicely in your head by now.
With a couple of them, it's been, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to have that.
Isn't that interesting? What is it that you don't
Mhm.
deserve to have? I'm just curious.
Well, one of them was like pay cash for my next and I want a new vehicle.
Yes.
Like, why not?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. Let's just talk about it for a minute. Where in the book of life or in the book of the sky or the chalkboard in the sky, or is there any place that God, universe, anybody has ever said, you know what? You just don't deserve that. Why? Who would not want you to have that? How nice would it be to have this car that is paid for, this brand new car in your driveway that you can trust, that you can go anywhere you want to go, that you can go put your daughter in that and feel so safe and secure in that? Any place in the universe, the chalkboard in the sky, anywhere that would be like, I don't think so, Roberta. That's not happening for you.
It's not the universe that's saying that. It's this
Okay.
from my childhood.
Okay. So tell me where that's written in the sky that that's true for you.
It's not.
Because how is that even true? When I put it to you that way, it's like, why would you not want a vehicle that was reliable, that you could go get in and know that you were safe and secure and you got your daughter in it and all is well? It's got brand new tires on it. It smells so lovely because it's got brand new leather in it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I love this car.
Well, and that's part of it. Like, there's nowhere that's saying I don't deserve that. But then I'm like, but so this is the other part of it. The car I have right now has been reliable. It has been safe. You know, it's that, well, what we've got is good enough. Blech.
To me, why couldn't you upgrade your car every year if that's what you wanted to do?
Well, right? Why not?
Yeah. Because there's one
Well,
thing, if you don't follow Amanda Francis, you should go follow her because she's awesome.
who?
Amanda Francis. So I freaking
Oh
love
yes,
her.
I do her.
Yes, I love
She's
her.
very out there.
But she is out there. She's very much out there, but she talks a lot about like the middle class here, the middle class mentality on
Right.
how, what we've got is fine. You always turn the lights off in your house. It's just that middle class mentality of not being like, why would we want to go out and get something better when what we have works just fine? But when we step out of that and realize, you know what, that's such bullshit thinking too, because that keeps us stuck in this little box of thinking that this is all we can ever have. And that once you buy something that you can never upgrade again. And it's funny, my husband and I were just talking about this last night with his airplane. And I said, I don't see the airplane that he has today as his lifelong airplane. I see it as a step up before we go to the next one and the next one and the next one. And I said, there's nothing anywhere that says you can't go trade and buy and do something different anytime your heart desires. It's our mind that says, oh, I don't think so. That's not realistic. Why would you waste all that money and go buy another car?
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say it to you that way, it's like, that just really doesn't make sense, does it? Yep, your ego stops you. Thank you. Exactly.
Darn
Bam.
so so Emer, my ego's name is Nancy, and we've had a lot of discussions, and she needs to take a back seat on a regular basis.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And Emer, I love it. I'm always struggling to make ends meet because I'll never afford it. Okay, so
Yeah, I always find that I don't know why. If I'm looking for, say, a new car or something like that, I just like not that long ago I had somebody scam a lot of money out of me online
oh,
and I lost a
no.
lot of money. So now I believe I have the people are taking my power away, and that I don't have. I lost everything I had. I lost my car. I lost everything. I had no savings left. So basically, I feel like, okay, I'm beginning to kind of work my money back up, and I'm getting there with savings and everything. But I feel like I got a car that was 20 something years old because I had no car, and I just felt really, really, really like powerless, and like I allowed somebody to do that, and I blame myself in a lot of ways too, which is not good.
The other thing that's going on here is you got trust issues with yourself too. Now you don't trust
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
to do anything.
yeah, yeah.
So because
Definitely, I don't trust anybody or myself.
because you made one decision, now you're suddenly like banned for life and you'll never be able to do this ever again. I think that's one of the hardest things. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think we do have to forgive ourselves for our past money. And we have to forgive ourselves for our past decisions that we've made and everything that we have held over our head. Because what I believe now, the 20-year later, Gina, what I believe now is money is a renewable resource. And just because we lost it once, we just go back and get more. It's not like, everybody says, well, money doesn't grow on trees. The hell it doesn't. It's paper. Like, what part of that is even like, that's not even true. This is more that lack mentality that we get stuck in. And anytime we're stuck in this lack place, we constrict down that money. We constrict it down even far. Every time we tell ourselves, you know what, I can't afford it. I don't say I can't afford it anymore. It's not because sometimes I truly can't afford it. The reason I don't say that anymore is because I tell myself I choose to spend my money differently. That's what I say to myself now, because I step out of that lack mentality of we'll never have it and we'll never be able to make ends meet and I'll never get that money back to, you know what? I'm very cautious and I choose to spend my money the way that I desire to now these days. I choose to do it differently. Because the fact of the matter remains that money is gone, but the facts also remain that you've been able to bring some money back in too, have you not?
Yeah, I have a DJ.
So there you go. So you can trust yourself.
Yep.
And I feel like out of the goodness, what I'm feeling from you is like out of the goodness of your heart, you got screwed out of some shit. That's what I feel.
Well, well, what I feel is that I'm very too trusting, and that I kind of like, I suppose people saw that goodness in me and sort of took advantage of that.
That's very much what I felt from you, is like out of the goodness of your heart. Some people took.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a good person. Like, I wouldn't see anybody stuck, but I went to it went the wrong way. Like, obviously,
But let me ask you a question. This is what I do all day, every day. I love this shit. I'm like, I love this shit.
keep going.
If you wouldn't have went through that, how would you learn what you don't ever want to do again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was we all have our, how would you say, dark night of the souls and lessons, and every day you learn a lesson of some sort.
Absolutely.
So that was my kind of really bad lesson, I guess. But anyway.
And maybe it wasn't so, I mean, I don't want to downplay it, but I kind of do want to downplay it for you because I want to take the sting, the emotional sting out of it. So what if it wasn't as bad as you're telling yourself that it is? Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't bad. I'm not saying you didn't lose all your money, but what if we could take it up a notch and go, you know what? I really did the very best that I knew how with what I had. And this is how it turned out. And it's okay because look what I've been able to create since then.
Yeah, well, that's it. I kind of, at the time, I suppose I did look at it in a bad way because I was struggling to even feed myself at times. But then I kind of look at it now and say, well, I'm still here, and there's a lot worse people off than me, and I'm grateful to be where I am today. So
yeah,
I don't let it really get to me at the end of the day. So
yeah,
I'm starting to build my life back up.
To me, it's the same thing with debt. It's like we've got to take the badness out of debt. Like we make everything so bad. Everything is like in our human mind, we want to make everything, it's either got to be good or bad. There is no in between. There is no gray area. I did that and that's good. I did this and this is bad. But when we start telling ourselves that all these things are bad, This is when we start feeling really heavy and really down. And it's really hard for us to get into the way of manifesting the things that we want, because we're telling ourselves we're such a bad person. We're so bad with money. We've done all these shitty things, these terrible things. I lost all this money. If I get more money, see, and you won't want to go get more money, because if you do go get more money, you're scared someone else is going to come in and take it. So you keep
Yeah.
yourself in this box instead of realizing, oh my gosh, you know what? I got to step out of this box because I want something better. And God forbid that even happens again, which honestly, clean your vibration
No,
up and it
no.
won't happen. Because
No, it definitely won't happen
uh-uh,
again.
because to
No.
me, what my energy says is, you know what? I'm not to be messed with. I am a force to
Yeah.
be reckoned with. And my intuition is really tap on, and I'm a really good bullshit detector. So these are some of the mantras and the things that I've brought in for myself, so that because I can tell when people are lying. To all I have to do is look at me and I'm just like, yeah, we're out of here. Like, I have no problem with any of that. So, you know, it's like changing the story, changing how we look at it, and realizing, you know what, I did the very best that I knew how. And just because that happened doesn't mean that ever happens, has to happen again.
Yeah.
Because I've learned so much, and that will never happen again.
Exactly.
In fact, you know what? My boundaries are like over the top. You want money? Go get a freaking job and go do your own stuff. Like, so does that make you feel a little better? I'm like, let's look at it
Yep.
from a different point of view. Let's release some of that garbage in there, because that's really holding you back, keeping you in this stuck place. The other thing that
Yeah,
I was
there
going
is.
to ask you is it really true that you'll never be able to afford anything again?
No, no, so no. I mean, you know, if you can afford to have your dinner, you can afford to have anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So think about that, you know, when you're saying these things. And we'll talk about how we work through all these things, because we're going to give you some better thinking thoughts to think here, so that when you find yourself saying, you know what, I'm never going to be able to afford the things that I want, you're going to go, yeah, well, the old me would have said that, but the new me today believes something different. That part of me didn't understand. That's why I told you the 20-year ago, even the 10-year-old me is very different than the person that you see standing here in the chart today. Even 6 months ago, I've been through a lot in the last 6 months. Even the 6 months ago person in me has changed a whole lot. And Roberta's shaking her head. She knows what I'm talking about. Like, because I'm constantly in this state of growing. I know I'm constantly in this state of growing and changing, and really working through my belief systems too, so that I can live my very best life, because that's what I want. I do not want to go to the grave and go, geez, say, I wish I would have done that. I want to go
I
out of
know.
here
I
and
was thinking
go,
that last week too. I don't want to end up like that as well.
no, I want to go out of here going, you know what? I did it my way, and I did everything that I wanted to do. That's what I want to do. In fact, I told my husband the other day, I said, I want people to say at my funeral that she was a world traveler and that she worked all over the world, and she did. And he goes, honey, they can already say that. Why are you even saying that? And I was like, oh, you're right. We have been all over the world. We have done all these things, because I have a word, and my husband and I both, there's the somedayers. You've all heard him. Someday we're going to go here. Someday we're going to do this. Someday. And then there are the people who just go and do it. I am the person that just goes and does it. I used to be the somedayer because I thought that I would never be able to do that stuff. I refuse to be the somedayer now. And I know, we want to go somewhere, I'm going to go make it happen. I don't always know how, but I just start working towards that. I start making plans towards that. I just start, and I quit worrying about how the money is going to come in. I remember the first time we bought the airplane, I was like, shit, we just bought this airplane. Now I got to pay for it. How am I going to pay for it? Do you remember us talking about that in class, Roberta? It was like, but guess what?
It was
Happened.
like freaking out. It was so funny. I'm like, Gina,
I was like, we manifested a plane. Now I got to pay for the damn thing. Like, now what are we going to do? And it was like, you know what? It just worked out. It was fine. I had nothing to worry about, because I had already sent it out there. I had already told him what I wanted. We had already brought in what we wanted. It literally fell in my lap. And that's how I worked through that too, as well, because it was like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're right. This has all worked out for me, and I need to trust it. And I had to tell myself that you're right. how else did this plane just landed in our lap? Why would it have landed in my lap if we couldn't figure out how to take care of it and how to pay for it and how to do all the things? And literally it just happened. Like, seriously. So we need to think about that. Now, was there inspired action along the way? Yes. And we're going to talk about that as well. But it's like, we have to think about that and have to trust in this process. Sometimes when we get what we want, we freak out. When we bought this other plane and I had to take that amount of money out of my checking account, oh, I had another freak out. I had a total like meltdown moment. I did not like that. That was uncomfortable doing it. So I had to go back to my journal and I had to go do some more work about releasing money, because it's one thing to bring money in, but when you have to start releasing, especially you start releasing large amounts of money, that gets scary too. That messes with our safety and security. That messes with all these things. All these triggers start coming up. And I had to go work through that again. In fact, I had a freak out that weekend. I was doing a big launch that weekend. And here I am in meltdown situation because I'm like, my checking account looks like trash. Like, this can't be like, but here we are. And we've just manifested this really cool airplane. You got to pay for it. Money is the resource that we use to do all of those things. So we have to be willing to bring it in, and we also have to be willing to let it go out. And sometimes bringing it in is a whole lot easier than letting it go out. I'm telling you, like, especially when you start talking about larger sums of money and you're like, oh my gosh, oh, that we had to do a little breathing in the bag and like remind ourselves that we're safe and secure and that everything's okay. And that as I release that money, it's going to come right back to me. And this is the work. So we've been talking about your limiting beliefs that has come up. This unworthiness one, I believe that our unworthiness and money are so intertwined. It's like this big old death grip on us. So what we believe that we can have is usually what we manifest in our lives. We won't go over that limit. We all have a set point in our checking accounts, in our savings account. We all have this point that we're like, we would never go less than this. We also have a point that we kind of put ourselves in a little box and say, I could never have more than this. This is all I get. This is my minimum and maximums, is what I've heard them called. But we can break through those and start breaking out of those and get out of that and allow more money to come in. At the same time, just like buying the airplane, allow more money to flow out. But we have to look at our set minimums and maximums and really decide, is this what I want? Is this the kind of life that I really truly want to live forever? Or do I want to break through this shit and start doing something different and start allowing more money to come in? And it doesn't have to just be in through your business. I don't believe in I remember when we retired and everybody was like, oh, now you're on a fixed income. That is bullshit to me. That is more of that lower limiting mentality that we've all been taught, that now this is all you get. That's all you can have. And I just don't see it that way. We put ourselves in the box because of the fear and all the restrictions and all the things and all the things that we believe are going to happen to us if we make more money. A big one here in the United States, I don't know how they do it in Scotland. I am not familiar with the tax systems, but a lot of times we get freaked out over money. We don't want to make any more money because we don't want to have to pay more taxes to the government or pay more money to the government, because we have to pay every year. And they do the same thing in Canada, right? Like, you guys have to do and so a lot of people get freaked out by that, and they'll keep themselves in a box and not allow themselves to make any more money than that, because that's all they can tolerate paying out there. And so they won't allow themselves to bring in any more money. And I'm sure you probably have things like that. I don't know how your system works over there. I'm not familiar with it, but a lot of times that's an issue for lots of people here and in Canada and a lot of other places. Especially if you don't like the way the system is ran, then we get into even more issues, like because that's your money being spent. So we've talked about what's ultimately true for you. Let's talk about the vibration, because money is a vibration, and it's opening ourselves up to allowing that vibration to flow. And I'm a firm believer that we have to let money go out in order for money to come in. I believe that wholeheartedly. We are in a constant relationship. We need to create an intimate relationship with our money. Every day you're dealing with money, right? Is there ever a day that goes by that you don't have to go swipe your card or go do something? You got to go get food. You got to go. Every day we're dealing with money. How are you feeling about money in the process? Because if every time you go to pay for something, you are freaking out because that's just more money, that's the scarcity vibration that you're in. That is not an openness for creating more abundance and wealth. So to me, we have to focus on what is our daily relationship with money. Are you okay with going and paying for things and letting money go? You know, are you okay with knowing that that money is going to come right back to you? Are you okay to put that money back out there? Because I believe money is meant to circulate. That money needs to circulate. That money needs to go around. And as we make more money, as we bring more money in, we're able to pay people to do things and pay for more things and go buy the better groceries that we want or go get the better car that we want and go do these things. But we're allowed to let that money circulate around. It needs to circulate. It's not meant to be stagnant underneath your mattress. I mean, you can have some of it under there, but you know, it's like if you're ultimately terrified to go let money go, then we need to work on that, work on your vibration of that, because that is not a vibration consistent with allowing money in and allowing it to go out. How does that set with everybody?
Makes sense, and it makes me anxious all at the same time.
Okay, why does it make you anxious?
Because my relationship with it is I'm constantly thinking, can I pay for my next bills? Can I, if I buy this, if I spend a little bit extra for Easter, how am I going to pay for this? You know, it's a fear. It's a
because money gets so wrapped up in our safety and security, and it's built into us. You know, it used to be that our food, so early on, many moons ago, it was all about food. Food was our safety and security. We had to have money to buy the food. We had to have money to go get the seeds to plant the food. Like it was all about the food. That's how we lived. And if you didn't have enough money to do that, people died. That safety and security is still built into us today. That's what we have to work through.
I feel like it's not that long ago too, because there was such a scarcity mentality through the wars. Like I know even my grandparents had that. They had money stashed freaking everywhere. Like it was ridiculous when we were cleaning out their house.
Yeah.
But that's
how it works.
Yeah.
But we can choose to stay in that mentality. You know, I look at Robert's mom, my husband's mom her parents were from the Depression, they're all of that. It was really interesting because I was cleaning out my cabinets. I did a massive clean out in my house. By the way, if you want to open up more space to bring good stuff in, go clean out your house, go ditch everything. But anyway, I was cleaning out my Tupperware. And do you know what Tupperware is, Emma? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So I just want to make sure we're on. And I had these little itty bitty tiny things, and I was going to throw them away because I was like, and then I was like, oh, I know exactly who would use them. My mother-in-law. So I took like 30 of them to her because I bought this whole set, and there's like, I have no use for these little itty bitty tiny things, but my mother-in-law does because she saves every scrap of food and she puts them in a ding butter dish in her fridge. So you don't know what is the butter and what is not. Most of it is leftovers because this is a mentality. This is where she, you know, her parents came from the Depression. She was raised during the Depression. She will not spend a ding dime on anything that doesn't need to be spent. I mean, even down to things that would benefit her, but she won't do it. Absolutely will not do it. And so it was really weird because I was like, you know, I'm just going to give those to her because I knew that she'd appreciate it. And at first she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. The last time I went over there, I think she had like 20 of them in her fridge. I was like, I know what you're going to do with them. She's like, those are small. I'm like, you're the only woman I know that saves this little tiny itty bitty piece of food. Like, because most of us would I'd just go give it to my dogs. Like, I wouldn't but not her, not in that mentality. We don't give that food away. We don't waste that food. We don't waste anything. And so, but we can step out of that, because when we're doing that, we're constricting ourselves. We're keeping ourselves in that box. So one thing I want you to, on your list, if you could have the life that you wanted, okay, here's the vibration thing that we're going to start talking about. Who are you living in that life? Because that person is not going to be worried about her next bill. That person is trusting in whatever it is that it's coming right. It's coming to her, and she knows that it's there. There's safety and security in that, right? That woman who's driving that brand new car, who she just went and paid cash for it, and she gets in it and it smells freaking lovely, because I love new cars. I'm a big sucker for new cars. And she gets in that car and she takes a big old whiff, and she is so grateful for all the things that she has in her life. She is not worried about tomorrow's power bill. She's sitting in that car, smelling it, sniffing it, being so grateful for everything that she has today. Right? This is how we get into the vibration of the things that we want. If I were to come and hand you a $10,000 check today, I just hand it to you. Here you go, Roberta. Emer,
Thank you very
there
much.
you go. How do you feel?
Excited.
Right? 10,000 pounds. I'm handing you pounds. You don't get it. Not United States money. I'm giving you the pounds. I'm giving you the, it's like, how do you feel? Describe it to me. Not just excited. What does it feel like on the inside?
Oh, I've never had this much money before.
What are you going to do with it?
Buy a new car.
Okay. Awesome. You're going to sit in that new car too, and you're going to smell that brand new car, and you're going to be so grateful for that
I'm
new
going
car.
to enjoy it, just like you do. Yeah, I love new cars.
Can you just hear? I love new cars too. You can tell just by me talking about it, right? Like, I remember when I actually manifested the car that I'm driving now, and I've had it now for 5 years, and I'm ready to manifest another one. I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm ready to move on. But I remember when I was looking for that car, because I knew exactly what I wanted. We had 3 kids in college at the time, and I knew I needed a new vehicle. So I did not go buy a brand new one off of the showroom floor this time, but I knew that what I wanted was a newer car that didn't have very many miles on it, that looked brand new, that felt brand new to me, and one that I didn't have to worry about making the payments on. That's what I was going for. I knew I wanted a Ford. I knew I wanted a Ford Edge. That's the car that I wanted. And I just started going to town. And you know what? I drove that dang car home. And it was the coolest thing, because I never worried, not one day, when I was making payments on that car. And it's totally paid off now. I don't make payments on it. So that's what I went for. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted it to smell like, feel like, be like. I knew what I wanted to feel like in that car. And I went and found that damn car, and I drove it home. And it's totally possible to do. I never worried about making a car payment ever in that car. And the interesting thing is, my husband bought a new truck a couple of years ago. And at first I freaked out, because the cost of everything has went up so much. And he bought a diesel truck, which is super expensive. But I've never worried not one day about making that payment either. It's like that experience for me got me out of that worry of how are we going to add a car payment into our already daily expenses. But as you can sit in it, as you can feel it, as you know that it's yours, it's amazing how it just freaking works out. Now, I had to do my work on the inside too, as well. I had to work through my scarcity fears. I had to work through my fears of spending that amount of money on another vehicle. I had to work through all of those things. And I did it just like we talked about today, journaling about it, working through it, talking to myself about it, giving myself different things to think about, and staying in this vibration of feeling yummy. So what I do absolutely twice a day at least, but I have reminders in my phone that go off all day long. And I go on what's called a rampage. And I have these reminders that go off, and they go off on my phone. And it's the same thing that I'm just talking to you. Oh my gosh, I just made $10,000. This feels so freaking amazing. I am so excited that this person came in and paid that, and that I got this unexpected check and they just paid that. And it feels so freaking amazing. I'm so excited to go put this money into my checking account and to feel the fact that this worked. It freaking works. And this is what I do all day long. And then I have another reminder that goes off. And whenever those reminders go off, I do it again. And I jump back in that feeling or that emotion, that vibration of having enough and being so supported and so loved in everything that I do. Do you see how that works? Because so many times we get stuck in these blah, and we don't ever pull ourselves out. We just stay there. I used to stay there for a long time. Now I still have weekends. I'm telling you, the weekend we paid for the airplane, I told you, like, when that money came out of my head, like, this total freak out. And then I worked through it. And I got to the point because I wanted to feel good about it. I wanted it to feel amazing to me. And actually, you know what I did is I went before we took that amount of money out, because I knew it was coming out. That's just it. Like, I knew it was coming out too. And before we did that, I went to my bank and I got some cash out, and I kept that receipt that had that amount of money in there before it came out. I carry that with me in my wallet. Anytime I start feeling like I don't have enough money, I pull that receipt out and I look at it. That's an actual receipt from my freaking checking account. And I look at it and I feel, this is what it feels like to have that amount of money in my account. That's my goal. That's my desire, to be able to spend money, save money, and still have that safety and security in there, knowing that that's the amount in my checking account. Does that make sense? We play all these games with ourselves. It feels like we're playing games, but honestly, the energy doesn't know any different, because as we start creating these things for ourselves, the energy, it doesn't know any different. You start telling yourself these things, that's what you're creating for yourself. You've been telling yourself all these other stories and we're still stuck in the hole. To me, my thing was, and at first when I started doing this, I will tell you, I got scared because I went into total freak out mode, because what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? What if I give it a deadline and it doesn't work? The thing that I've realized is what doesn't matter, whether it works or not. Seriously? Like, because I've had things that have been on a deadline and it hasn't worked at the time that I've wanted it to, but it's worked out a couple of days later or another week later, or maybe even a month later. To me, that's when our faith comes in, and knowing that, you know what, I am worthy of this and I can have anything that my heart desires. I don't need to figure out the how. And sometimes my date is just not going to work out. Let the universe do its thing and sit back and know that it is still mine. And just because it didn't come the very exact minute that I wanted it to, doesn't mean it still can't happen for me. And I totally let go of that fear of the date coming and it not happening, because who cares whether it happens then or 2 days later? The hell does it matter? Like, we're the ones that are in this human world putting these constraints upon ourselves. It's the trusting and the knowing and staying in the vibration that gets us where we want to go. The funny thing is, it's super easy for me to do that with airplanes. Now in my business, I struggle more with this. So it's really interesting where our lines lie and how we do it. But we seriously just work through all of them. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you considering your inspired action towards that?
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll get there. So,
okay.
It's easier for me to talk about inspired action in my business. So I'm going to talk about it from a business point of view, and then we'll talk about it from other points of view. So to me, I set my goals, the things that I want. I set my goals for the things that I desire. I set my goals for whatever it is that we're doing. And it doesn't have to necessarily go through my business. This is just it. We need to understand that money can come in any way. You know, you can get that unexpected check from maybe an insurance policy that was out for whatever. Like, we can have all these ways. It's just easier sometimes for people to understand that money comes in through a business or a job or whatever it is, you know, that we have. And so I don't do inspired action until I've done all my work. So I set a goal, I play with the numbers, decide what I want, decide where I'm going. I go through and I journal about everything that comes up that tells me I can't have it. So I sat with it. What are the beliefs that are coming up for me? Well, I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't help people out enough. Maybe I don't do all the right things. Whatever it is that's coming up for me in my brain, I go through every single one of those and work through them. In the beginning, when you start doing this may take you a couple days or a weekend or, whatever, just for the one specific thing, because you're going to do this every time you set new goals for yourself. So I sat with that. I worked through that. Is this ultimately true for me? No. Work through all the beliefs. Then I decide from that list what reminders are going to go in my phone now. Okay, well, if I believe that, maybe I'm not giving or I'm not serving enough, I have a reminder in my phone that reminds me that the work that I do every day is serving at the highest vibration and it's serving the world. Well, that's a pretty cool vibration, right? Like, because we need to be reminded that, what, the work that we do does matter. The work that we do is of value to the world. So whatever it is that you're working on, you make the positive affirmations for yourself. You work on those. And then I sit back and I rest. And here's why, because I've done a whole lot of work. And we don't need to know the how on all it's going to work out. I sit back and I take a deep breath and I ask, what is it that I need to do to bring this in? You've all heard of the old saying, don't ask to win the lottery if you're not even willing to go buy a damn ticket, right? Like, so, if your thing is to win the lottery, you might want to at least go buy a ticket for starters. After you clean up your vibration, though, you wouldn't want to go buy that ticket first before you clean up your garbage. Do you know what I'm saying? So then you clean up your garbage. Then you're going to ask yourself, okay, so what is it that I need to do? And this is why I step back and I rest and I take a break from it. I walk away from it and I put it out there to the universe. What is it that I need to do to help bring this into my thing? And then whatever in my business is like, oh, go change this offer, go change this little bit on the sales page, go, do whatever it is. Maybe make a video on one of the things that I got this last week was go make a video on what energy healing really is to you and how it works. Bam, I did that. It's done. And then I set in that knowing, and there may be some more that comes in for me. There may be not, but I just set in that inspiration knowing that I've done the work that I need to do. Because once we clear up that vibration, we've done the work in the spiritual realm. It's allowing everything to happen over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that all make sense for you too?
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, it does, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so do you understand the inspired action part then? Now, in your home life, it may look like, well, go buy a lottery ticket if you want to win the lottery, but clean up your garbage first and then go do it. It's like, but it could be call this person. Maybe you're manifesting more money in your job. It could be call this person. Some of the things that I wrote down was, maybe if you want to make more money in your job, maybe you need to go ask for a raise. It might come in that, I need to go talk to my boss and go ask for a raise this week. Or, there might be things like that would be your inspired action. If you own your own business, then it's a totally, there's things that you can do. I do things every day in my business that are inspired action. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe the other thing that I wrote down today, because this has happened to me, I found money. If I wouldn't have looked down to see the money, I wouldn't have found it. So you have to listen to that, look down on the ground. If you're too busy to even do that, you're going to miss the whole damn thing. So we got to listen to those little hits that come across for us telling, look down on the ground. Oh my gosh, there's a $20 bill. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? It's like, and then say thank you when it happens. Like, say thank you because they love that. So that could be your inspired action for those kind of things. It's not always these big grandiose things. It's cleaning up our garbage daily. If you get up and you're in a frump, go figure it out. Don't stay there for a day or two or 20. Go figure it out. Why am I so down in the dumps today? What has triggered me? What's going on? Why do I not feel like that I can have this? Why do I not feel like that this is going to work out for me? What's going on for me? What do I need to clear out? And it really is just as simple as journaling about it and figuring out what's really going on, and then asking yourself, is this really my truth? Is this really how it has to be for me? Or do I really get to start feeling like and knowing that I can really have the things that I desire in my life? To me, that journaling work is as much as the inspired action is actually doing. By the time we get to that point, it's already done in the spiritual realm. It's literally just doing these little things on the end and keeping the faith and knowing that no matter what, this is going to happen for us. It takes time. It takes time to work through our stuff. It takes time to get our energy cleaned up because we've been blocked for so long. If we've been afraid of money, if we've been afraid of spending money for so long, sometimes we get hung up in that space. But all of it's okay. It's just knowing that, yes, it's all coming. It's all coming. I've had my health on my board for 2 years. So just saying, some things in 2 weeks, some things take a little longer to happen. I had to find the right people. I had to put it out there, but I did it. It was really cool how that happened too. That was a really cool story. Did you hear my podcast? Did you listen to my podcast, Roberta?
With your thyroid lady?
With
No, I haven't had a chance to. I saw it and I'm like, oh, I have to go back to that. And
yeah, you need to go back to that. I'll tell you. Emer, have you heard my podcast?
No, I haven't either. Sorry.
I have a podcast. You need to go listen to my podcast. It's the Intuitive Healing
Will do.
Connection. Go find it. I'm all over social media. You'll find it all over there. I'll tell you my story, okay? Because it's a really cool manifestation. So I showed you my picture on my board. Okay, nothing really happened for quite a while. And then one day I was feeling this inspired action. I was really fed up with Facebook. Facebook is rough for business people. It is rough. And so I was feeling this inspired action to really start moving my business to another social media platform. And I was going to ditch Facebook altogether. Honestly, I was going to ditch Facebook altogether. I wanted to get rid of my groups. I wanted to put my groups in my thing, and it just wasn't working out. It wasn't, but I felt inspired to take my business to TikTok. Okay, I love TikTok. I've heard so many people complain about TikTok. I have no complaints about TikTok. I love TikTok. Anyway, I did. I took my business to TikTok, went and opened up myself an account. We started posting on TikTok. It wasn't even 24 hours. Okay, my health had been on my board for about a year at that time. It wasn't even 24 hours, and this lady, McCall McPherson, shows up in my newsfeed and is talking about how regular medical doctors do not understand the nuances of thyroid care, and that she is in functional medicine. And literally, like, I'm listening to her bawling. I'm listening to her in tears, listening to this woman explain thyroid health and care, because this is the exact thing that I have been looking for all these years. Now, if I wouldn't have taken my inspired action and went to TikTok, I would have never found her. I might have found her later because she wasn't on Facebook and all the other platforms yet. She had literally just been inspired to start doing lives and stuff on TikTok. Her and I have now talked about this. We've done a podcast together. She's now working with my daughter. She works with my whole family. Because of that, I found out 3 out of my 4 kids also have thyroid issues. But they're not going to have to do 22 years. They get to already get their thyroid taken care of in their early 20s. I would have died if I would have been able to do that in my 20s, things would have been so much different for me then. But I also wouldn't have learned all the things I've learned to this point. So, and now I work with her. It's been this last year has been amazing. I actually went to the eye doctor the other day, and she asked me how my health was. And it's the first time I could honestly sit there in that chair and say it's better than it's ever been. And I didn't even feel guilty about saying it. Usually, you're like, am I lying? Like, it's like, am I lying? No, I'm not lying, because it's better than it's ever been. I'm 50 years old and I feel better than I have felt in 23 years. So, there's just this point in my life. But if I wouldn't have followed that inspired action, I wouldn't be sitting here today telling you that story. So it's amazing to me, the little things, just the things that we think at the time. And I thought it was for business. It wasn't. I mean, it was for business, but it wasn't for business, but I had no idea at the time that that's what I was going to get out of that. So do you see how that inspired action comes to work? Okay, so let's go over the, actually, let's talk about your fears first. They're going to come in, they're going to come up. There's nothing wrong with them, but we've got to face our fears. We've got to look at ourselves. We've got to look at one thing that I've always, here again, here's all of the, the middle class talk that we have. One thing that I realized I had a big issue with was debt. Anytime that I went into debt for my business, I was freaking out over that. Anytime I did any of that. And that was one thing that I realized that was one of my fears. And I realized, you know what, we have to get over that because I've used it to effectively build my business and do the things that I wanted to do. And we have to start trusting yourself. Emer, it's just like you know what? Yes, you had this situation that happened, but we have to let those things go and trust in ourselves and know that, you know what, for some reason, that's what I had to go through. But I am going to start stepping forward and trusting myself and trusting this money shit and really getting good at becoming this really good manifester and knowing that it's okay. I didn't do anything wrong. I just did what I felt was right at the time, and that's it.
Yep.
Isn't that not your truth?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
I know it's hard for you to swallow because you're like, yeah, but then I went on to, I almost died, I almost starved to death. And I hear that too, but it's like, we have to get to this point where we can forgive ourselves for our past money woes, forgive ourselves for all the time that we thought we wasted money. Anybody felt like they've ever wasted money? In the last 6 months, I've realized there is no wasting money. There is no wasting money. How are you wasting it? You're spending it on the things that you desire. How is that wasting money? That's old.
You earn the money. You earn the money, so you have a right to spend it and spend it how you want.
Absolutely. So I've let go of this notion of wasting money. I've let go of the notion of wasting time, like all of these low vibe and garbage things that just do not serve us in any way, shape, or form. So, really start looking at your belief systems. Where do you get hung up? What hangs you up about money? What do you think is so terrible? What is the worst case scenario, bad thing? Some people believe that, and I've had this too. Some people believe that if they get lots of money, just like with you, that it will be taken away. And so why would we go get more money? That will keep you small forever and ever and ever because you will not allow money to come in. So work through that garbage, whatever you need to do, whatever forgiveness work you need to do, work through it so that you can come to peace and to terms with your past, with your money. Because somebody told you that you're not good with money. Yeah, blow that shit up because that isn't true. That's their opinion about you. That has nothing to do with you. Does that all make sense? Okay. So we've talked about inspired action. I have a free money magnet meditation on my website. It's underneath my free resources. Go get it. If you haven't listened to it, I've got more that I'm going to be adding to it. I'm in the process of working on it. I'm not done yet. I'm hoping to get it done before I'm leaving on vacation. So because I want to have like 5 meditations in there that you can go listen to that helps clear out your abundance, helps you open up for more abundance, does the healing work for you. And so yeah. So let's go back over our steps here. So getting clear on what you want, working through any limiting beliefs that come up because of it, journaling all that out, talking about it, stepping into the vibration, getting that vibration going 2 to 4 times a day, or if you're like me, 30 times a day, every hour, whatever you want to do, whatever feels good to you. The better you feel, the more that you can start stepping into that vibration of allowing good things to come into you. And this can roll over into all parts of your life. I use it, I'm getting ready to travel. I get nervous when I travel. You hear all the worst case scenarios, everybody loses their luggage, blah, 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 all the things. Well, I've already put it out there to the universe that I have my luggage and everything works out so smoothly and nicely. And I'm even in the process of manifesting a first class seat because I need one of those for my knee. So, you know what? It's like, and if it works, how freaking Luya, how cool is that? You know, it's like, and I'm not even going to freak out for it because it just is what it is. Like, and so here we go. It's like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Put it out there and what you want. Tell people what you want and go and freaking get it because, and however it works out is beautiful. So, you know, think about those things. So, you know, do that vibration daily. Anytime a belief comes up, work through it, journal about it, do your inspired action as it comes in for you. There is that moment. I want you to hear me. After you journal about it, take your hands off for a minute and just allow it to sit there and marinate. I call it marinating. You know, if you think about marinating meat, you know, it sits in the fridge and it soaks up all the good juices. After you've declared what you want and have done your homework, let it sit there for a little bit and then ask what inspired action you need to take. Okay. All right. Any questions? Let's see if I missed anything. I had lots and lots of notes today. Oh, I'll share. Do you want me to share some of my tricks with you? I wrote down a whole list of some of my tricks that I use. Do you want those?
Yep.
I'm like, what else do I got here for you? Because I wrote down probably, this is all my notes. Can you see all that? Just for today's class, I was like, what do I want to talk about? All these things. Okay, so some of my tricks are the vision board. You saw my vision board. One of the tricks that I like to use, in fact, I'll show you again. Looks like I knocked some of them off because I took it off the wall, but I'll glue them back on. I always put my picture in the middle. And I have other pictures of me on here because I want to imagine myself setting in that energy. Okay, so anytime I'm working on, look, there's Robert's pirate. I didn't even realize that was on there. Look at that's his license for private pilot. Look at that. I'm like,
Nice.
oh, I didn't even realize that one was on there.
Nice.
So I put my picture in the middle and then I cut out pictures and do all the things that I want. See all my perfect health? Do you see all those suckers? See, I need to change my vision board because it's time to take some things off and put some new things on. So, and as they come to pass, take them off and put new things on and redo your stuff. I always put money on my board. I always put checks on my board. And then, in fact, that's another one of my tricks. So you can go to thesecret.com. I'm sure you can do this in Scotland too. They have a place on there where you can download checks and you can write yourself a check from the universe. So write yourself that dollar amount that you want there. I cut all those suckers out and I put them on my board here too. All my business launches, all my stuff goes on here. Okay, so my first trick is my vision board. I've used it many, many, many times for many different things. My second trick is I write myself checks all the time. You ever get the credit card things in the mail where they send you a million checks? Like they want you to write yourself a check. Don't deposit the sucker, but write yourself a check from that shit. Like write the amount of money you desire and put it out there. Why not? And get in the vibration. Because what would it feel like if I handed you, how much is this one? This one's a $45,000 check. Ooh, those numbers might trip you up a little bit, but how would that feel? How would that feel? Somebody handed you a $45,000 check.
Yes, please.
I can't buy airplanes with a $5,000 check. Sorry, but it's not gonna work. Okay, so write yourself a check for the amount of money that you desire. Okay, so feeling the feelings several times a day with reminders in your phone. Anytime you can do them in your phone, any place where you can have those alarms go off and you have to stop. Your job is to stop and feel the feelings of what it would be like to be in that energy and have that for yourself. Another thing that I do, and I've done this for years now, I always keep cash on hand. I've had so many people tell me that they don't use cash anymore. And I was like, I don't feel rich and abundant with a credit card in my hand. I feel rich and abundant with cash in my hand. This is one of the things that I've used to remind myself that, you know what, I do live an amazing, abundant life. And I always keep cash in my house. I keep cash in my purse. I use cash to pay a lot for my food if we go out to dinner or those kind of things, because I love having that feeling. There's something about feeling that hard cash. And I thank that cash for being part of my life. I've done this for years. I'm telling you, it makes such a difference in your life. So keep a little bit of cash, even if it's just 20 bucks in your wallet. It doesn't have to be 20 pounds, whatever. It doesn't have to be this big old thing, but just enough. I've used this, I'm telling you, it works. So it just helps you stay in that abundant mindset. I remind myself daily about all the things that I have, all the things that I have manifested, and I really try to stay in that place of gratitude. And the other thing that I do, and we've talked about it today, I do not allow myself to push negative feelings away. If I have fears come up, if I'm having big emotional feelings about what's going on, I go journal about them. I go work through them. I go talk myself down off the ledge, so to speak. Because what happens if we push them away, what we push away is just going to continue to persist, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So if we can get into the habit of facing those fears, facing those negative things, they are not bad. You are human. You are going to have those things happen. This is just your ego mind telling you, why do you want to change? Because we can just stay in our small little hole over here and keep doing what we're doing and be safe. But you guys all know that that's not okay anymore. You can't walk out of here thinking that that's okay anymore, because it's not. Like, there's nothing okay with our small hole. We want a bigger hole. We want a bigger space. We want a bigger house. We want all the things. But we don't get it by shoving those things away and ignoring them. We get them by facing those things, facing our fears, and working and journaling through those. Does that make sense? Any questions? Was this helpful?
Yeah.
You feel inspired to go take some inspired action today? If she can do it,
Yeah,
I can do
definitely.
it, kind of thing.
I start writing
Yeah.
my checks out now.
Yes, go write your checks out. Go to go get your checks. Go print off 20 of those suckers and slime them all over your house. Put them on your mirrors, put them on all the places.
Yep.
Every time you see them, thank whoever you want that money from for bringing you all that amazing money in your life. And I promise you, you're going to start finding money on the ground, and you're going to get these unexpected checks, and you're going to go, holy shit, it worked. Oh my God, it worked. Okay.
Sounds amazing.
I will tell you, the day that it's funny, this last year with my health, I also, I was in a biking accident back in October too. So I've been down for a long period of time. Roberta and I were talking about it before I came on here. And today I actually went to the doctor and I got the go ahead. I can take my brace off. I've been in a brace for 5 months.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, every day, it's been, but today I got to take my brace off. Anyway, I still remember it was a couple months ago, and I was in my brace and I'm hobbling around. I still couldn't vacuum my floor. I still couldn't do all these things because I tore up my knee. I had to have a total knee reconstruction, not a knee replacement. They couldn't even do a knee replacement because I had so much damage inside of my knee that there was nothing to put the knee back together with. So I had to get an ACL and an MCL. And anyway, it's a whole big story, but I was in my, because I've lost so much weight, I was sick of wearing all these baggy clothes. And I remember thinking, I got to go clean out my closet. This is driving me insane to put these shirts on and they're just hanging off of me. And I really hadn't even allowed myself to step in the fact that, oh my gosh, you've lost enough weight that you've got to go clean out your closet, because, we all dream about that day, right? Like, we all are like, gosh, how cool is that? And I remember going in my closet and I'm kind of stumbling around because I've got my brace on and my Christmas stuff is still all in there because I haven't even cleaned it out because I was down over Christmas. My closet is a disaster, but I'm trying to pull all the things off my shelves that don't fit. And all of a sudden I started to cry, and it was like, holy shit, you did it. And it still chokes me up today because it was like, holy shit, we did it. We did it, Gina. Like, who in your right mind would ever think for 1 minute that now my thing is I've been manifesting new clothes. I've been buying new clothes like nobody's business. Like, because it is a thing to celebrate when you get to that point. But it's still, I stood in my closet and I cried. I was like, oh my God, you did it. Am I where I want to be yet? No, like, I still want to lose a little bit more weight. There's still a few things that I need to do. I'm still balancing out my hormones and doing a thing. But, it's that moment when we realize, holy shit, it worked. It freaking worked. And that's when we can start stepping back into this and going, you know what, if that worked, what else can I do? It's when we start having these little wins. It's like, okay, what else can I do? If I can do that, holy shit, the sky's the limit. Literally, like, what else can we do? And that's when we let go of this fear and we let go of all this other garbage and really step into the fact that, you know what, I can do this and it's going to be okay. So that's my inspired story for you. I'm like, we can't close out without me telling you that, because that really is, it's been a real cool day and I keep clearing out more stuff. I'm still cleaning out my closet. I'll go and put another shirt on. I'm like, I'm not wearing that anymore. And I had a hard time there at first letting all, because I was like, what am I going to do if I get rid of all my clothes? Hell, now I'm like, I'm going to buy myself some new clothes. Like, it's like letting go of that fear mentality of like, what happens if I clean out all my closet? Then what? It's like we buy more clothes and it's going to be okay. Because we're going to manifest money to buy more clothes. So we're going to let that money go. Like, what a cool day that I get to go buy new clothes.
And dress up and look beautiful.
Right. Like, seriously. So,
Yeah.
it's working through all of those little things. We don't think about, oh my gosh, what happens if I let it go of all my clothes? Because we think, what a cool thing we just manifested. But then there's always those fears that come in on the other side. But it's okay. It's okay. So, any other questions for you? Did you guys enjoy your day? I'm like,
yeah, thank you. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Always.
I know. Well, I love you guys. I appreciate you being here, and I'm so excited to share all of this. It's a lot of information in an hour and a half. We did 90 minutes. I'm pretty dang proud of myself. Actually, we got all that in 90 minutes. So for you guys being on here today, I do have Soul School open. So I'm just going to tell you about Soul School just for a minute, because if you liked this, I know you're going to love Soul School. So and you guys get a special deal for today because you're here, but I have a whole school open with all sorts of these kind of lessons in there. And I actually am going to do a whole month of manifestation in May. So if you want to come and join me in there, May is going to be manifestation month. I'm going to be live in the group. So it has what you get is a year's worth of healing classes. So weekly classes that drip out for you. Yep, it's all about boundaries, clearing up your emotional blocks. Let me see what else is in here. Because I'm having a brain fart just because we're talking about all the things. I do that. Listening to your ego, learning to become friends with your ego, creating a better life for yourself, loving yourself. So there's asking for help, feeling your feelings, and clearing out your energy. Those are just the first 6 weeks, and it goes on from there. So there's a whole year's worth of weekly healings, weekly journaling exercises, all the things in there. Plus you get all my classes that I've recorded. So there's a ton of other resources for you, and all sorts of I can't even tell you. There's a whole ego masterclass in there. There's what are some of the other ones? Dealing with your feelings, learning to deal with your emotional baggage. There's my gratitude class, my empath class is in there. If you want to learn how to take care of your energy, clean out the energy in your house. All those things are in there. So you can look at those. Today you can get, up until Saturday, I actually changed. See, here's my inspired action. So before it was only on a membership. And I realized the other day, not everybody wants to do that. So I changed my plans so that if you want lifetime access, which will include all of the updates, anything that I add in there later, which we've been adding to it for the last couple of weeks, it's been getting an update just about every day. So you can actually buy lifetime access instead of just doing the membership. So if you want to do those, you can do that. If you do the full pay, you can get $200 off until Saturday. And then if you want to just do the payment plans, it's $66 off your first payment. So depending on which one you decide to do. So the payment plan, you'll want to write this down. Oh, I didn't write down the, hold on, we got to go figure out because you need the code. So yeah, $66. Oh, it's 66 off. I was like, what did I do? So if you want to do the payment plan, you can put in the coupon code 66 off and it will take that off your first payment. If you want to do the full pay plan, you can use the code full pay SS, all caps, FULLPAYSS, and you'll get $200 off. So that's for you guys, just for being here today. If you want those links, I can share. Let me share the Soul School page with you. You can go check it out and see. Of course, it's not a requirement. This is only if you decide that's what you want to do. I'd love to work with you some more. Let me grab a link for you. And, oh, there it is. Yay. Okay, so I'll put it down here in the messages. And if you forget the codes or whatever, you need help, just message me later and I'll totally help you out. But I'm excited to have you here. I've been loving Soul School. I think it's a lot of fun and the membership's a lot of fun. And so it's pretty cool to be inside there. So if that's something you're interested in, fabulous. Come join me over there. You can join us inside of, and like I said, in May, we're going to be doing, I'm going to go on my vacation and then I'm coming home and then we're going to do manifestation month. So we'll be doing weekly classes in there all through the month of May. So I think that'll be super cool. So trust yourself, trust in the process, go manifest some good shit. If you want to manifest Soul School, put it out there to the world and bring it in, baby. Like, because it's all possible. So everything is possible. Does anybody have any questions before we go today? Because I don't want to leave you hanging. I'm here. You got me full front and center. Has anything come up? Like,
No, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all the information. It was really
you are
insightful.
very welcome. Thank you for joining us all the way. That's a long ways away. So I was excited that you were here. That's so awesome. So thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome.
So, all right. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me anytime. If you think about something later and you're like, how does that work? Just reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, wherever the heck you follow me at. You can email me too anytime. So I answer my own emails. Nobody does that for me. So I like connecting with my people. So you can just reach out to me, Gina Strole at ginastrole.com anytime. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you
As
guys.
always.
So
Bye.
go manifest some good stuff and share with me what you manifest. I want to hear all about it. Just
Sure,
being
nice
here today.
See you, Emer.
Yeah. All right. Love you
Bye.
guys.
Nice.
See you later.
Bye,
All right.
ladies.
Bye.